It's time for the 5 behaviors that push people away and how to stop it. Are you ready to hear this? Okay, let's get real for a minute. I know relationships can be hard enough as it is, but when you're dealing with complex PTSD or CPTSD, things can get even more complicated. It's like trying to build a house on shaky ground. You want connection, love, and all the good stuff, but there's this sneaky thing called trauma that keeps tripping you up. And trust me, I totally get it. CPTSD can throw all kinds of curveballs into your relationships, even when you don't realize it. You might find yourself pushing people away and then wonder, what just happened, when all you really want is connection and support. So let's break it down together, because babe, you deserve relationships that light you up, not ones that make you feel isolated. Let's talk about the top 5 CPTSD behaviors that can push people away, and more importantly, how to get out of your own way. Yes, we're diving deep today. 1. Emotional reactivity, aka the I'm fine explosion. You know that feeling when you're trying so hard to keep it together, but then, bam, the smallest thing sets you off. Maybe it's a comment your partner made, or they didn't text back fast enough, and suddenly you're spiraling. Emotional reactivity is like having your emotions turned up to 100 with no volume control. It's not just getting upset, it's feeling everything, all at once. And then, unfortunately, that intensity can push people away. Let's say your partner says something harmless like, "Oh, you forgot to grab milk from the store." Harmless, right? But to you, it feels like a personal attack. Suddenly, you're angry or hurt, and before you know it, the floodgates have opened. You're lashing out, crying, or retreating into yourself because it feels like the world is caving in. Why it pushes people away. The intensity of these reactions can be overwhelming for the people around you. They might not understand why you're so upset over what seems like a small thing, and over time, they might pull away because they kaur eitmachi le kaori, that I don't know how to handle it, how to stop it. Just breathe. One of the best things you can do is pause. Practice grounding techniques when you feel that intensity coming on. Try breathing deeply, counting to 10, or even removing yourself from the situation for a bit. The key is learning to recognize when your trauma brain is reacting to something in the present that might feel like the past. With practice, you'll start to notice when the reaction doesn't match the situation. 2. Hypervigilance, aka trust issues on steroids. Okay, let's talk about hypervigilance for a sec. This is the part of CPTSD where you're constantly on high alert, scanning for threats, even when there aren't any. Your trauma taught you that you have to be prepared for the worst, but in a healthy relationship, this can come across as distrust or paranoia. You're in a relationship with someone who's shown you nothing but love and consistency, but every time they're out of sight, you're wondering, are they cheating? Do they really care about me? Are they lying? You might even go as far as checking their phone, questioning their every move, or asking for constant reassurance. We've all been there, but this gets exhausting fast for you and them. Why it pushes people away. Constant suspicion can feel like an attack to the other person. Over time, they might get tired of having to prove their loyalty again and again. And honestly, it's exhausting for you too. Living in that state of constant what-ifs drains your energy. How to stop it? First, recognize that your trauma is the one making you hyper alert. Your brain is trying to protect you from getting hurt, but it's overreacting to situations that don't call for it. Start by acknowledging those thoughts when they pop up. Okay, I'm feeling suspicious, but has this person actually given me a reason not to trust them? Work on self-soothing and giving yourself the reassurance you crave. And let's be real, therapy is a game changer here. 3. Fear of abandonment, aka the I'll leave before you can move. Oh, friend, this one is a biggie for people with CPTSD. When you've been abandoned or betrayed in the past, your mind can trick you into believing that everyone will leave you eventually. And instead of waiting for the other shoe to drop, you might start pushing people away first to protect yourself. Say you're dating someone amazing and everything's going great, but suddenly they don't text you back for a few hours. In your mind, this triggers the fear that they're going to ghost you or that they don't care anymore. Instead of waiting to see what's going on, you preemptively start acting distant or even break things off because you'd rather leave before they can hurt you. Why? It pushes people away. This fear can lead to self-sabotage. When you pull away or break things off out of fear, you never give the relationship a chance to grow. The other person might be confused and hurt, wondering what they did wrong, and eventually they might give up trying. How to stop it. The next time you feel that fear creeping in, try sitting with it instead of acting on it. Ask yourself, is this fear based on something happening right now, or is it tied to something from my past? You deserve love, but you have to give people a chance to show up for you. Practice allowing people to stay instead of pushing them away. 4. Emotional numbing, aka the I don't feel anything shield. OMG, emotional numbness. It's one of those sneaky trauma responses that can leave you feeling like you're walking through life with a thick layer of emotional bubble wrap. When things get too intense, your brain might shut down and protect you by numbing everything out. The problem? This numbness can stop you from feeling the good stuff too, like love, connection, and joy. You're in a great relationship, but every time things start getting emotional or intimate, you feel nothing. You're going through the motions, but you're not really feeling the love. This can confuse both you and your partner because deep down, you want that connection, but your trauma response is blocking it. Why? It pushes people away. People who care about you might feel hurt or confused by your emotional distance. They might not understand why you're withdrawing, and over time, they could start pulling away too because they don't feel emotionally connected to you. How to stop it? First of all, be kind to yourself. Emotional numbness is your brain's way of protecting you from pain, but to break free, you have to start letting yourself feel again. This can be scary, trust me, I know, but start small. Practice identifying your feelings throughout the day, even if they're uncomfortable. Journaling or talking to someone you trust can help you reconnect with your emotions. Slowly, that emotional wall will come down, and you'll start to feel the good stuff again. 5. Avoidance, aka the let's pretend everything's fine game. Avoidance is CPTSD's sneaky way of making you avoid conflict, tough conversations, or any situation that might bring up uncomfortable emotions. You don't want to deal with the discomfort, so you dodge, ignore, or distract yourself from it. The problem? Avoidance only works temporarily, and eventually, all those unspoken issues bubble to the surface. Let's say your partner brings up something that's bothering them. Maybe they need more quality time with you, or they've noticed you pulling away. Instead of addressing the issue, you brush it off or change the subject because you don't want to deal with the discomfort of the conversation. Spoiler alert, avoiding tough conversations only makes things worse in the long run. Why it pushes people away. When you avoid conflict or difficult emotions, it leaves the other person feeling unheard and frustrated. Relationships thrive on communication, and if you're constantly avoiding tough topics, your partner might start feeling disconnected or resentful. And trust me, that's not the vibe we want. How to stop it? Let's face it, conflict is scary, but it's also necessary for growth. Start practicing leaning into the discomfort, one conversation at a time. You don't have to tackle everything all at once, but when something comes up, try saying, "I'm feeling uncomfortable, but I want to work through this." You'd be surprised how much stronger your relationships can get when you stop avoiding and start communicating. So there you have it, 5 CPTSD behaviors that can push people away, but also 5 ways you can start healing and reclaiming your relationships. I know it's not easy, but recognizing these patterns is a huge first step. CPTSD might have shaped your past, but it doesn't have to control your future. You are worthy of love, trust, and connection. And with a little self-awareness and a lot of self-compassion, you can break free from these old habits. Remember, healing isn't a linear journey. I left the link to my Want to Know If You Have CPTSD and my free 15 Signs of CPTSD quiz below in the description under this video. So, my beautiful survivor, I hope this video gave you some insights on how to begin your healing journey. Remember, healing takes time, and there's no rush. You're doing amazing. If you need more support, check out the resources in the description below. And don't forget to subscribe so we can keep walking this path together.